everyone, and welcome back to another video with me, Country Wood Girl, and today we are going to be making a large cabinet. This cabinet is going to be going eventually into an alcove, and that's why it won't have a solid top on, but it will have like a curved piece to fill in the alcove and stuff. And I really hope you enjoy this video. It is going to be made out of oak and walnut, and that's English walnut, which is getting rarer and rarer to get hold of, so I am really lucky that I'm working with it today. And I hope you enjoy the video and you learn something new today. So thanks, and let's make it! Hey everyone, so I thought I'd just jump on this mic and let you know what is going on in the workshop today. So as I previously mentioned, we're making a cabinet out of oak and walnut. Oak is going to be the main timber for the frame, and then walnut's going to be the detailed panels to give it that wow factor. So as you can see here, I've started milling out the oak. Now I do mill out all the oak and get the frame built before I start milling out the walnut. So all I'm going to do is rip this down to a rough size, get it on the planer, get it thickness to the right thickness, get it cut to length, and then I start on my joints. The jointing in this project is going to be mortise and tenons. So you'll see the whole process of this. So please do stick around and enjoy the video. And just like that, our timber is all planed up and nice and smooth. Like I said before, we're going to be doing mortise and tenon joints. And this is me marking out for them now. It's so much easier just putting them all together, marking one and squaring across, rather than trying to measure each one. It's a little trick and it saves time, so it's great. So this is the mortiser, and a mortise is very simple. It just creates a rectangular hole in your wood. And there's a little wheel on the front that slides it left to right, and there's a handle on the top to pull your bit down. There's also a stop that you can see in this footage that creates how deep you go. So it is all very simple, so yeah, anyone can really do this. So like I say, it creates a rectangular hole, and then we jump onto the tenon and create a corresponding piece to slot into that hole. I hope you are enjoying this video. If you are, would you please do me a massive favor and hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. And I am really appreciative of it if you do that. So thank you very much. So this is our tenon. As you can see, that's a square block of timber. It is cut to the right length. So I have got a stop on this tenon to give me the correct length of tenon that I want. I've also set it so it slots into the hole perfectly. It is a really good idea just to grab a bit of scrap and test it first, which I have previously done off camera. So I know this will slot in perfectly. To create a strong tenon, you always want to have a shoulder to them. Now if it's near the edge of a frame, you want to make sure that you have about 15 to 20 millimeters, which will keep it nice and strong. If you only leave it a few mil, it has got the risk of snapping the whole frame. So wherever it's close to the top, you want to make sure you leave a bit. Also, end grain isn't that strong, so if your hole for your mortise is really close to the edge of a piece of timber, it will eventually just rip out, especially maybe when you're gluing it and cramping it. So definitely give an allowance. So I always leave 15 or 20 mil to one side and 6 mil on the underside. So as you can see here, the frame goes together really well, and I was really happy with it. So I did just do a test cramp just to make sure those joints were going up really nice, and I could get a final measurement for the size of the walnut that I needed. I obviously do put a groove into that frame, which I don't show on camera, but I don't think you need it because you can either use a router or use a spindle molder. It's a very simple process. So this is the English walnut. Now it's an honor when I ever use English walnut because it is getting harder and harder to get hold of. So I was really pleased that this project had walnut in it, and I have planed it up and got it all looking nice. Now this is a book match piece. I do explain what a book match is in a previous video, so do go back and have a look at all my other videos and you'll eventually find me explaining how you get a book match. Essentially though, it's just a copy of the piece of timber, so each side looks exactly the same, and then you can put it heartwood to heartwood or sapwood to sapwood. Now I wanted this panel to have a shadow gap so everything sat flush. You'll see what a shadow gap is at the end of the video, or when I'm gluing this up you'll see what I mean. Everything is flush, so the frame and the panels stay flush on the outside, and it has this shadow gap effect, which is why I call it a shadow gap panel. Another really important thing to remember whenever you're making a project is wood moves, and you need to allow for that. So here I'm taking off 2 mil off each side so that it doesn't get tight in the groove that I've done. There's a plenty of allowance for it to contract. So this is me gluing the panel up now. I use Titebond 3 because I have a lot of comments asking me what glue I use, so it's called Titebond 3. It's really good, it's waterproof. I've never had a problem with it before, so I would definitely recommend it if you were looking at buying a new wood glue. So you can see here that I'm just moving the panel around to get that shadow gap looking perfect on each side. As you can see, it really does just look like a shadow. I think it's really cool. So here I've glued up both of the side panels. There's the other one, just appeared. And then I can start working on the bottom frame and the top frame. So here's another board of oak that I've just got out that I'm going to mill out for the bottom frame and the top frame, which I do off camera because I'm not going to bore you with the whole rough cutting, planing, chopping to size. Yeah, it just gets a bit boring after a while. But once it's all done, which it is now, is I start jointing it, which I am using a Festool dominoer. It is a brilliant tool, but you can use a standard biscuit jointer or just grooves, just something to give you a location and a little bit of strength. So we've now created a few little L sections, and if you looked on top of this, so you were looking down onto this, we are creating exactly the same as what we've just created before. However, we are using the domino to create the mortise and tenons, and we're just simply building another frame with another shadow gap panel in the middle. This time the shadow gap panel I'm just doing out of oak. I simply just didn't have enough walnut to make it out of walnut, and since it's inside the cabinet, oak will look just as well as walnut would have anyway. So as you can see, it's got that groove in, it's got 2 side rails, 2 end rails, and we glue it up. The only difference on this one is that the far one you can see now has dovetails on the ends. And that's for the top. That helps create everything nice and strong and stops the whole cabinet pulling apart over time. We've now got to joint the bottom frame into the side frames. And I'm simply just using a dominoer, and so I domino into the bottom frame, I domino into the side frame, and it just pushes together perfectly. And then on the top one, I actually route in for the dovetails, which you'll see me do in a minute, and that again, it is just such a strong way of doing it. So this is me marking out where to route out for the dovetails. I get rid of most of the waste with the router, and then I slowly chisel back with my chisel until it's a nice tight fit. Whenever you make a cabinet, you really want to think about what kind of shelves you want to put in this at the final stage. Now this customer particularly wanted adjustable shelves, so that means the shelves had to be movable. We use something called shelf studs, and we route several holes so the customer can move them to wherever they want to do. Obviously you want to do this before it's glued up because 1, you can get a really nice cut on a pillar drill, which you can't do once it's glued up, and 2, sometimes you build a cabinet and you physically cannot get a drill in there. It's such a small cabinet you can't get a drill anymore, and then you're a little bit stuck on how you get an adjustable shelf in. So it's these little things that you really need to think about before the gluing process. So now that I do have all the holes drilled out for my adjustable shelves, I was ready to glue. So I got this cabinet all glued together. Another really important tip when you're gluing something like this is once you've finally got all them clamps on, you need to make sure that this cabinet is square. So it's not kicking off to one side or the other side, it is gluing up square. Because believe me, if it's not square, you will have an absolute nightmare with your doors. Also, what you want to check is that it's not in twist. Again, you would have an absolute nightmare if the cabinet glues up in twist. Now here I've actually skipped quite a bit of the process and I'm gluing up some drawers, but it's because this is exactly the same process as the side panels of the main cabinet. As you can see, it's a frame, it's mortise and tenons, and it's got a walnut shadow gap panel. So I obviously glue up 2 doors, and again, check they're square when you're gluing it, check they're in twist, and then you won't have a problem when you're trying to fit them. And then all you've got left to do is to route in the hinges, make the handles, and get this baby all oiled up. Now we're coming to the end of the video. If you did like this video, please do hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and check out all the other videos on my channel. Now, if you know me and you follow me on Instagram and you followed me for years, you'll know that doing a voiceover like this is my absolute worst nightmare, and I would always rather put music over the top. But as so many of you always comment saying, please do a commentary so we know what you're doing and what you're thinking, I thought, well, it's one of them videos where I could just do a voiceover, which is what I've tried to do today. So if you did like it, please do leave a comment saying what you thought about it, or if you want me to go back to just music, that would be so much easier for me. So leave a comment and give me your opinion. But as you can see here, the cabinet is all done. I made the handles. They were super easy to make. They were just like little L's, what I call L's. The profile is an L shape. They're super strong. I glued them on. And yeah, it looked really nice. I put some back panels in too, which is out of cedar, and cedar absolutely smells gorgeous. If you don't know what it smells like, do go find some and give it a whiff, because it's amazing. Every time you open them doors, bam, hit with the smell, awesome. But anyway, time to get this baby all oiled up and some final photos. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye!